Okay, why don't we go ahead and get started. Appreciate everybody attending. I know I'm sure everyone's pretty busy, and so I appreciate you taking the time out of your day today to attend today's webinar. My name is Mark Sneider. I'm owner and president of RSW US. For those of you that don't know us, we are a outsourced lead generation business development firm that exclusively works with marketing service agencies to basically help them find qualified leads, set meetings, help them move closer to close. I started the business in 2005, and we have stayed true to our space. And so we're pretty well versed in the agency and marketer space. If you're interested in tweeting during today's presentation, you can use the hashtag RSWUS or agency new business would be the preferred hashtags. So why don't we go ahead and get started. The source of today's information that we're going to cover today comes from our recently released 2015 New Year Outlook survey. While, obviously we're now 2 months into 2015, really the unprecedented pace of change in our industry is the active dynamic driving the feedback that we receive from marketers and agencies in this particular survey. And this is certain to continue as we move forward through the year. Doing business as an advertising and marketing communication agency always has required keeping one eye on the day-to-day deadlines clients expect their agencies to hit, certainly without a doubt. But at the same time, to stay relevant tomorrow, and we hear this all the time on both sides, both on the agency side and on the agency search side of our business for marketers, the other eye has to be on what's happening in the industry, and agencies constantly need to be thinking about how to prepare for this. The 2015 New Year Outlook survey was rich in feedback on topics that range from expectations around the congressional shift in party power and the potential impact on our industry to marketer and agency issues in their day-to-day work together to experience in agency searches. So it covered a wide range of different issues. And in today's webinar, we're going to focus on the marketer and agency issues and working together. And we certainly heard a lot of those issues. So let's go ahead and move forward. So with that, here are the objectives of today's webinar. Over the next 45, 50 minutes, I'll show you how marketers and agencies are looking at the year ahead. I'll also show what both sides are feeling in terms of the frustration with each other, and we'll dive into some of the sources of this frustration. And the frustration isn't all that bad, and I'll point out just some of the opportunities that marketers' concerns can really present for agencies as a whole to take advantage of. And I'll also want to make a call for solutions and problem solving. This isn't specifically an individual effort. Sufficient questions seem to exist in some key areas that collaborative problem solving from the agency side of the industry could foster an environment that creates greater success for all. One means to do this is a forum that we've opened up on LinkedIn, and I'll come back to that towards the end of the webinar. So let's go ahead and get underway. So we'll cover 4 key areas in the discussion of the state of the industry based on marketer and agency feedback. The input that we'll present here comes from 123 senior level marketers that responded to our survey and 158 agency executives. And these include general optimism expressed by both marketers and agencies, which is a good thing. The optimism is encouraging, particularly following the tough years that ensued with the Great Recession, but I do see some caution flags, particularly for agencies. Core issue really is leadership in the industry, and that's strategic leadership. And you'll see how both marketers and agencies are seeking more from each other. And among the areas of some concern is a rapid emergence and growing emphasis on data and technology, as I'm sure we all see it, we all know. The growth is not necessarily the concern, but again, I'll show expectations that both marketers and agencies have of the other to have a firmer grasp on what data and technology can deliver. So starting on the optimistic outlook, we see that marketers' confidence has grown steadily since 2013, with close to 90% of all marketers who responded feeling like they're likely to either invest somewhat or heavily in their business infrastructure, which is people, equipment, et cetera, this year. This is the second consecutive year where a significant jump in marketer confidence has driven a desire to spend strongly. We see here in 2015 that number was at 57%, so it was pretty darn low. As for marketing spending specifically among marketers, a call for optimism still does exist. However, marketers anticipate increases will be relatively conservative. They do see it growing, and we do see it among our agency clients and those that we speak with. I think we're seeing the purses open up more, marketers more willing to spend, more organic growth among existing clients. So that's all really positive. And agency confidence in the industry actually took a significant leap in last year's survey and remained strong in 2015. 95% of agencies responding state they will likely increase their investment in marketing, sales, people, parts of their business, either somewhat or heavily. So again, an encouraging sign. Agencies are also exhibiting confidence as they anticipate increased marketing spending by their clients. And of note, agencies express what appears to be higher expectations of increased marketing spending than their marketing counterparts expressed. And that's pretty typical. We see that year over year. Agencies tend to be a little bit more optimistic and enthusiastic about the potential for spend. But, if you look back in time, as we've been running these surveys for the last 9-10 years, that gap was pretty wide at first, and it seems to be narrowing. So that's encouraging that both sides are seeing sort of the optimism closer than they used to. So from a growth and spending outlook perspective, the industry certainly seems to have good energy and momentum. However, the trip ahead for agencies could be more like riding the rapids than smooth sailing. When we asked marketers how they've been trending on consolidation, 56% said that they've been doing so, and 63% indicated that they anticipated continued consolidation of agencies supporting their brands. And so it's kind of an interesting trend that we're seeing here. 5 years ago, it was almost just the opposite, where agencies or marketers were looking to specialize by pulling in specific agencies that had certain areas of expertise. And here we're seeing that trend back to one where there's an interest in consolidation. And I think it's partly because of the need for integration, partly because of the need for control, and partly because of the need to contain cost to some degree. So with marketers looking at the future this way, any sense you have that the industry is becoming more competitive is certainly real. If it's any comfort, you're far from being alone on this. 79% of agency respondents in our survey indicated that they feel that the environment is much more competitive for them, and this compares to 68% expressing this just 2 years ago. So as consolidation occurs, there are fewer opportunities to open up doors. Just puts more pressure on agencies, and I've seen this over the last 2-3 years where bigger agencies are starting to play in smaller pools of marketer prizes. Clients of ours and those we talk to, agencies we talk to, are seeing agencies appear in the consideration set that they've never seen before. So clearly it's having an effect on agencies of all types and sizes. In addition to consolidation of agency resources and competition in the industry, other dynamics that are causing stress and frustration for agencies are trends that seem to threaten their position as long-term strategic partners. Many of these dynamics have roots in cost containment initiatives that pressure marketers in their own organizations, as I'm sure you all have seen. So, there's a double punch here. Beyond feeling devalued as a strategic partner, agencies see growth potential for their billings and revenues squeezed, if not outright cut. So for some, or maybe many of you, the figures and dynamics we've just talked through may not be all that surprising. But really, I just needed to kind of lay the groundwork for the rest of the story that we're going to tell here. As I touch on frustrations in this current section here, you'll see that they're pretty much coming from each side of the industry, both marketers and agencies. You'll see some of these concerns again as I dive a bit deeper into the next section and hone in on the gaps that marketers are perceiving and some approaches to filling them. So looking at the dynamics from both sides, on the one hand, we see an industry that's optimistic about real potential for growth, one that's wrestling with dynamics common to many industries, consolidation, increasing competition. And then we move into a reality where it's really unclear who's leading, and in each side, both marketers and agencies expecting more leadership out of the other, which is certainly interesting. Marketers express that they see agencies too often chasing the next shiny object. The responses reveal a concern that agencies have become soft in strategic direction and even question their strength or presence of strategic talent. Marketers also see agencies as overemphasizing social media, as well as talking very promising talk about the availability and power of data. However, they do not see agencies using data appropriately or effectively. And just to take a step back, these are comments that we asked or that came back to us when we asked marketers and also agencies, kind of the top things that were most frustrating about their agency counterparts or their marketing counterparts, or troubling trends that they were seeing on either side. So interestingly, agencies expressed like concerns about their marketing counterparts. This is an obvious statement, but some strong strategic leadership is vital to the advertising and marketing industry. And we'll come back to this again in the next section. And Adweek probably nailed it best. We were fortunate enough to get a feature on our survey in Adweek on the 16th of January. Maybe the tension isn't as quite this in your face as Adweek sort of, presented. But we asked both marketers and agencies, again, what troubling trends they were seeing in each other. I knew discontent, certainly existed on some level, but the scope and level that appeared in the responses were surprisingly intense. And again, in this section, we're sharing issues from both marketers and agencies, and we'll touch on some of these again as we discuss opportunities that present themselves to agencies going forward. So in responses to, the question about the most troubling trend, you're seeing today both marketers and agencies pointed to a vacuum in strategic leadership, with each looking to each other to step up and take the lead. Among marketer comments were things like complacency, lack of understanding of a client's business drivers, less emphasis on marketing research, lack of focus, not understanding our challenges, lacking a complete understanding of our business needs, an off-the-shelf approach, not understanding the customer, lack of direction. Most of them are clueless, arrogance. So, this certainly is a little concerning. I hear, I think, more often than not on the agency search side, when marketers come to us looking for a new agency, feeling like the agency has become somewhat complacent, feeling like they're not as engaged in the business, feeling like they're not really understanding the challenges that they're dealing with and presenting strategic leadership and helping them manage those challenges. Agencies say pretty much the same thing about marketers. Their laments include marketers, the fact that they're unwilling to be brave. Marketers seek short-term fixes over long-term commitment to branding, provide insufficient input. There's a lack of understanding, lack of planning, lack of commitment to doing great work. Lack of strategic approach, fail to focus on bigger ideas that move the business forward, a lack of commitment and loyalty, and turnover at the CMO level is just, way too aggressive. So, back to Adweek, here's how their headline wrapped up. Over data, tech, and social, and these are major issues indeed, and we'll come back to them and as we talk about opportunities. So, they focused heavily on the tech, data, tech, and social piece of this, where there was a lot of discontent and tech tension between agencies and marketers, and we'll talk specifically about that in a bit. Frustration associated with data and technology really kind of fell into three key buckets. These included kind of the murkiness around the deliverables for digital and social media, integrating brand strategy consistently across traditional and digital channels, and an uncertainty about how to best harness big data. And here are just a few of the verbatims from marketers and agencies when it comes to the subject. Marketers expressed a desire for effective post-analysis on social and digital programs, seeing more strategic integration across platforms, ability to use data appropriately and understanding the metrics, an emphasis on the solution rather than on the technology itself. And agencies are seeing marketers perceiving digital and social as less expensive avenues to brand building as a substitute for traditional channels. Agencies feeling like marketers are lacking the understanding of how to effectively incorporate new digital technologies into their overall marketing strategies. Kind of a compulsion to relate each marketing dollar to sales and ROI, and marketers prioritizing data over creative. And so again, you see each side really looking for answers. And they really are looking for, to each other, I think, for leadership. Agencies want clear direction with long-range vision for their clients' brands. They want to see leadership commitment to the long haul associated with sustained brand building. And marketers want agencies to lead with strategic solutions for the marketing challenges. They feel they're being sold the latest technologies on their basis to generate data rather than on the right means to reach and motivate an audience. And data and technology really is just one area that spells opportunity. And again, we'll be back to this shortly. But let's take a minute here and look at the big picture again. Some of my comments in this section speak comparatively broadly to promote thinking about the potential in front of your firms and your options for pursuing it. So as I talk about opportunities, contemplate what these imply in your specific situation and how your firm can benefit from the opportunities out there. The need for marketers to connect with their audience obviously is as big as it's ever been. Given the continuous fragmentation of media and the means to reach these audiences, this is only going to become increasingly complicated. And marketers need partners, smart, courageous experts with whom they can share leadership and stewardship of their brands. The good news is that the opportunity is there. The rest of the news is obviously it takes some hard work, and I believe that this is an opportunity area for agencies, and they need to evolve and be thinking about the things that marketers are telling us they want us to be thinking about, and that's how ultimately you're going to set yourself apart. I think I've been asked the question, do I think agencies as they exist today, will exist tomorrow and into the future? And I think the answer is yes. There's always going to be a need for marketing agencies. It's just the demands of what it is they need to provide their marketing partners and how they need to lead the conversation is what's going to change. So and that, obviously that takes some hard work. So, the opportunities, if they aren't already clear, I think really include pursuing marketers who are dissatisfied. That's kind of a, may sound or be the most, Darwinian statement as well as the most obvious, but marketers that aren't satisfied, are looking for new agencies. So, that's great. Now go find them for me. The issue is, how are you willing to engage them? If they offer a project is that acceptable? Or are you willing to consider only AOR opportunities? This is your question to answer, but you really need to plan for it. And I'm confident, that this, but it certainly deserves emphasis. Being proactive is not limited to pursuing new business. We want to talk about securing your current client base as well as building up on that foundation. Because, big frustration that marketers cite is hearing agencies claim that they're full service and can handle all their marketer needs, only to learn that the agency has overpromised. So, there's an opportunity both in terms of new business, an opportunity organically to build up that relationship, but make sure you don't overextend yourself. Don't let this be you that, if you can't do it, just say so. This is okay, to do that, to say you're not capable of delivering it, But, obviously marketers have identified gaps that we can, potentially capitalize. You heard their side on several of them a few minutes ago, and we'll hear more about them shortly. So, just take the example of growing potential data can offer and the abundance of marketers and agencies observing absence of ability to harness that potential. And let's play this out and imagine a client asks about the capability of your firm that they can offer in collecting and analyzing data and drawing actionable insights from it. Are you really staffed with the right kind of data scientists or analysts to address the client's needs? And if not, how do you incorporate that expertise and talent? Do you have to add to internal staff? Can you, is it best to forge a strategic alliance with a firm that does possess that talent? I think either approach is fine, and marketers have told us in our surveys that they're willing to accept strategic relationships. I think you just have to ensure that those relationships are well connected, that there's some history of some relationship with that partner, and that you guys are clearly working in tandem to solve the client's problems. So in the former, how does your firm evolve itself in positioning? How will you ultimately communicate your offering and your value to your prospects? And if the latter, how do you ensure in terms of outsourcing that the marketer client, like I said before, that this is a genuine, legitimate, effective working partnership? And as I've suggested, it really has to be real. You have to show concrete examples of how your partnerships have driven success for your clients. Again, only you can answer these questions that we're asking here, and more associated with adding capabilities specifically. But you need to plan for it. You need to think about how you're going to address it, because if it's not coming up today, it's certainly going to come up at some point in the future. And I've seen it across the board. We started the agency search business in 2010. We've managed, with the exception of the hospital space, we've managed across a range of different industries. No single industry have we gone at more than one. So we've covered a lot of different industries, and the pain points are all the same. And more I'm seeing a need and a desire for marketers to find good, smart, strategic partners that can lead them down a smarter, more well-integrated marketing and analytics path. So the opportunity is definitely there. So in a way, the cart, may be before the horse a bit, and asking how you're going to fill the gaps and how you will position yourself in relation to your clients' needs. But these issues need to be on top of your mind as you think about the gaps marketers see and are frustrated with. What marketers expressed as troubling trends were rather extensive. And so in this section, we'll dive a bit deeper into the key gaps, and along with them, I'll share some thoughts on what you might consider to take advantage of them. So we looked at these before, but I wanted to focus on these four categories in particular. As we've touched upon them already to some extent, two are new technologies and data. I come back to technology and data again for a number of reasons, one of which is that both are prime areas for future evolution in the industry, as I mentioned before. Also marketers see a void in genuine expertise here, and they're genuinely seeking that expertise. And an area of major concern is strategy and strategic leadership in this area, and I think really in general. So once again, this is critical for the industry's future. If you can be or become a strong leader, you'll be able to influence the industry's future, not to mention, your own firms. And finally, marketers are concerned agencies are slipping in foundational focus and innovation and creative to, again, genuine expertise in more traditional areas such as PR and research. So verbatims, for marketers on the gaps they perceived in the evolution of marketing technology included, selling the technology, not the solution. They feel like agencies are dashing to programmatic marketing without really grasping the risks or finding a true method of handling fraud specifically, not understanding technology of marketing demographics, lack or of experience in digital, too much emphasis on social without clear measurement of success, too general, not specific on how technology is to be applied, and an inability to understand new technologies before entering into campaigns with those channels. So, not good enough to just show the shiny objects. And I saw this, just got out of a round of final pitch presentations for the Cayman Islands, and varying levels of expertise and how agencies were talking about their data and analytics and measurement capabilities, and how those, varying levels of how they were grounded in strategic thinking and were built up out of the right kind of strategic insights that, kind of helped them develop a sound program. So it's not, it's one thing to just be able to talk about those things, but it's another thing to be able to link them all together and present them in the context of a smart, well thought out strategic plan. So the perception seems to be that agencies have sort of been jumping on the technology and data bandwagon, which I said, rushing to new technologies before they're really well tested and understood, or simply creating a perception of Me Too presence just to be there. Obviously this is a problem. Marketers need substantive expertise. They're, telling us they see a void. We're into our third year of conducting our tools and technologies survey with the group Marin, Brent Hodgins and his group. We'll be pushing that out at some point here in the next few weeks, and then releasing the report in the May June timeframe, around the time of the Marin conference. And in that we see, year after year, lots of different technologies, few people using them. Those that, in many cases, those that are using some of the hot stuff really aren't seeing the value out of it. So, it's fine to stay on top of those things, and you can check the report out on our site. But just make sure you do your due diligence, and you're not just throwing stuff out just for the sake of, looking hot and being on top of it. So with regard to data, some of the marketers' remarks were an offshoot of the gaps they see in expertise with technology. The ability to utilize data, determine ROI, was often cited as a concern. They also cited failure to understand the metrics and to use data appropriately. This particular point is certainly one that spells opportunity. And I'm suggesting, options to consider for filling gaps in technology and data, because potential solutions are common to both, and because the frustration marketers express with one seem to flow over to the other. So, no doubt that marketing technology is going to continue to evolve rapidly, and this includes, the opportunities it presents for harvesting data. So manage this evolution proactively. First examine all the basics. A couple of thoughts here, just as examples. Has your client's brand audience changed? Who is the group or groups, and how do they consume brand information? Are new technologies opening communication channels that are meaningful to those audiences? And what are the metrics that are leading indicators that are the leading indicators that your client needs to monitor to manage and grow their business? For, as an example, are the number of Facebook followers really indicative and predictive of future sales? If so, that's great. If not, zero in on those things that, make the most sense and that really do matter. And the second key point is, assuming that new technology does make sense for your client or for your clients, what is the best avenue for fulfilling that need? Earlier we talked rather theoretically about how you might answer some of these needs. This needs to be a key part of your human resource strategy. I know one agency in Chicago that has somebody on staff who's not only her responsibility isn't only human resource talent acquisition, so they're not having to pay a search consultant to go out and find talent, but her job is also technology research and acquisition. So they literally have somebody on staff that carries both of those roles. Furthermore, once you decide if you want to expand your service offerings with genuine expertise, you need to plan how you're going to communicate this to your clients and to your prospects. How does the new service offering affect your positioning? Be sure to consider this, plan appropriately for the evolution that it'll bring, and be ready to market this, about your own firm. And to some extent, it's some point here, it's gonna almost be a cost of entry. So I would suggest that, it's fine to talk about it now. I wouldn't hang your hat too significantly on it in making it your agency's positioning, because eventually it'll look like everybody else. But you do need to think about how you communicate it and the value that it can bring to your clients and potential partners. So now looking, further at the strategic issues troubling marketers, we see that a number of them rest considerably in what they observe as the ability of agencies to integrate digital program components with all media, and with all media in line with strategy. So, however, there are broader overarching concerns with regard to the capability with business and marketing strategy that are quite important. And these speak to a need for more leadership from agencies, really beginning with observed lack of direction. One response that somebody provided also lamented, seeing the old model, and is frustrated that agencies don't seem to be in a position to lead clients. That is, they don't know, what works. And with regard to the ability to integrate new media effectively, respondents remarked that agencies view social media as a discrete function or strategy rather than a tool to be a component of an integrated strategy that supports overarching organizational goals. So need to be thinking about all of these elements in an integrated fashion. They also said about agencies pushing digital media tactics without an underlying strategy, which is similar to what I just discussed. And then, that agencies sometimes specialize in one aspect of the digital marketplace, and integrated campaigns that run across all media really are everything. And it's where, it is and where it's going. This is so elementary, but the degree of marketing frustration indicates that agencies are falling short here as strategic partners. Frankly, marketers seem to be so ravenous for strategic partners who have the ability to foresee industry opportunities and help lead the client's organization to them. And this represents a level of opportunity that can carry your firm successfully far into the future. If you have the talent and expertise to step up to that strategic leadership role, be courageous and do it. Know your clients' industries, bring them fresh insights, challenge them with their thinking. When it becomes distracted with the latest shiny object. But maybe strategy isn't where your agency excels. Maybe your firm does best pounding out materials at the tactical level, and that's fine. That's who you are, and there's a place for you. Nevertheless, make absolutely certain that your deliverables are aligned with the client's strategy. If your client is not clear on strategy and direction, be courageous as well and discuss what's murky. Accepting assignments that don't seem strategically aligned or rational will lead either to your firm, will not lead, either to your firm or your client's success. What's most concerning is really the gaps marketers are citing in just handling the basics. Contrary to the general optimism in about the outlook for the industry, this certainly doesn't look all that great. It's a long list of fundamentals, and if nothing else, one opportunity each and every agency can jump on, is correcting these issues. And sorry for bringing up the agency search side, but we get some great marketer input there, and I've seen long-standing relationships go south because of that complacency issue, not giving the agency, not treating every day like it's the first day of the relationship, and that's troubling and concerning, and maybe you need to take a step forward and lead your client by maybe possibly putting some new talent on the account, offer some fresh thinking, bring some new strategic leadership to the account, as a way of keeping things fresh and energized for that client. And that list is honestly just a sampling of the troubling trends marketers cite, that fall in the category of fix the basics. Reading the verbatims, which you can certainly do on our site by downloading the report, really had me feeling like a bucket of ice had been dumped on me. Part of me wants to assume that it's too elementary a point to make, but marketers seem pretty hot about it. So it's an important, so if nothing else, just take a truthful look at your firm, make sure your entire team is geared for excellence before doing anything else. And if you're feeling like a lot of your client relationships are rocky, be especially diligent in self-assessment. Candid conversations with your clients asking for performance feedback, could be a ticket to writing the relationship. If you're the leader of the agency and you feel a little removed from the day-to-day, insert yourself into the day-to-day, goings on of your agency's relationship with your client. This year I made a dedicated, commitment to inserting myself in weekly, not every week, but, once a month, weekly updates with our agency clients. And, it's something that just helps us stay connected, understand that, make sure that strategically we're moving our programs forward in the right direction, that we're thinking about all the options to keep things productive and positive for our clients. And you can, do the same thing, frankly, for yours. So let's go ahead and move on next and focus on what we need to do to grasp the opportunity that is out there, beginning with a plan that entails, of course, delivering on the basics. I know time is a limited resource for all of us, but you have to do this for the future health of your agency. If you haven't done so, scrutinize your own business plan, not just for 2015, but look at the next 3 to 5 years. What do you want to be? How are you going to get to where you want to be? How are your clients changing? What kind of demands are they putting on you? What are they most receptive to? And think about how you're going to shape your agency, both from a human resource, technology resource standpoint, to get them there. And besides the areas we've been discussing, take time to understand the industry dynamics fully and consider how you guide your firm through them. Enable your firm to ride on these currents that they create and really thrive on them. This is really where you can really step up and be a leader. Even if you don't have a formal leadership role in your firm, you can be a visionary, proactive member and help encourage a team forward towards the opportunity in the industry. And certainly don't want to offend anyone by getting too elementary here, but
in terms of telling you how to plan and implement a client retention program and business development initiatives. But, I'll pop a couple of ideas out here and certainly be happy to talk with you about resources, that are either out there or we have, that can help you through this process. And I'm always happy to have conversations, love talking about, the business of advertising and marketing. So, let's talk about client retention first. What's the saying? Make new friends, but keep the old. One is silver and the other is gold. So this picture of thoroughbreds mixes metaphors a bit. And I hate to state the obvious, but do all you can to keep your current stable of clients corralled. In the survey, agencies lamented eroding loyalty for marketers, and certainly dynamics outside of the agency's control exist, but make sure that you make your firm indispensable to your clients every day. I talked about making every day feel like it's the first day of that relationship. And I think if you can impart that upon your staff from top to bottom, and make people think about how you're going to constantly bring value to that client relationship, then you're on the right road. Numerous responses to the troubling trends question in the survey, surrounded erosion of business from clients. Observed concerns included, decline loyalty among marketers for your agency's business, growing project work versus AOR assignments, procurements increasing involvement in the appearance or reappearance or expansion of in-house agencies. And these are real dynamics, but on the agency side, we have to look at the root cause for these developments. The easy answer is cost containment initiatives within client organizations, and that's certainly, likely true. But more to the story may be the value agencies are delivering. How do you agency build value unlike anybody else? And the focus on our webinar in September 2014, was creating lasting and productive partnerships between agencies and marketers. And it's something that I've been talking about for a while. I've presented it in a couple of different conferences, and it's, it's been less than 6 months since we presented this webinar. The material is all still very relevant, and we've got it on our website. You can watch it. Hopefully that will help you as you move forward in developing your plans. But some key points to remember with regard to retention, obviously hit or exceed goals. Another category of concerns agency expressed in 2015 in our Outlook survey is that their clients do not provide clear direction, goals, metrics. So, take a firm lead with your clients on this. It's possible they're not doing this planning homework themselves. So insist with them that their success is your top priority. Show them by leading them through this goal setting process. So you've got something, to measure your success against, and do it, by monitoring the right metrics. Make sure that they are thinking about the metrics that truly reflect what is driving their business. What numbers, what measurements are leading indicators to their sales and profit performance. Make sure, they're the right ones and you agree on them, with the client. Bring yourself, to such issues as proactive leadership partner. This is an important issue to your client as much as it is an important issue to you, and push for these definitions and offer to, maybe be the secretary, take the notes, develop the documentation, get confirmation or corrections, offer to distribute to all team players, organize brief monthly sessions that make sure everyone's on track, and importantly, sees your firm as being on track. So, some things, some of you may already be doing, but maybe you're not doing it enough, or you're not doing it as organized or as timely or as consistent a fashion as you could be. And some important points to remember with regard to retention. Again, immerse yourself and insist your staff immerses themselves in your clients' businesses. Understand, better than your clients do what can change their world. This seems to be elementary, and I know it's not easy, and I know, we're all working on, the time spent and trying to maximize and make more efficient that time spent in dealing with clients. But it's so important that I feel that I need to call it out. Know your client's business, their competition, their industries, better than they do if you can. And this depth of expertise enables you to bring business insights and strategic ideas that can add value, deliver to your clients something they haven't thought of themselves regularly. Being the partner who brings that aha moment regularly can help make you an indispensable asset to your client. Make sure to allow yourself and your staff the time it takes to become your client's expert. So I know we run a million miles an hour, and I'm the worst, of this. I'm working 24/7. It seems sometimes. I'm sure many of you feel that way, but try and carve out the time. Might be a weekend, might be sitting in front of a NCAA college basketball game or a movie. Take the time and think about the client's business and how you can manage it on a different level or bring different value to the relationship. So some key points, to remember with regard to retention, consider voice of the client report cards. This is a tool that goes beyond providing feedback on the work your firm has already completed. It can identify gaps that need to be closed before they create problems. Also can reveal opportunities for your firm to anticipate and prepare for upcoming needs. Now I'm just going to talk a little bit about business development. A methodologically sound, consistent new business development initiative is obviously vital to your firm for it to be healthy for 2, 3, 5 years from now. We talked earlier about how agencies are viewing the industry as more competitive than in the past. Here 88% of agencies responding to our survey said that things are going to be much more aggressive. And briefly for now, I just mentioned inbound efforts associated with new business development. Our survey results indicated that agencies are seeing stronger results from inbound, which is encouraging. Still most are not getting the full benefit that inbound can offer. And I think a big reason is, you need a combined inbound outbound effort in order to be effective. And that was a topic that was touched on in the survey. We're going to probably talk a little bit more about that later this spring, so keep an eye out for that. And I hope you have your 2015 new business program well underway. Whether you do or you don't, feel free to take a look at some of the case studies on our site. You'll see that some of the common factors you'll notice to underline success are methodology. Is there a system in place? Day in, day out, people knowing what they need to do. Are you being proactive in terms of your outreach, and is it consistent? Something we see consistently failing to deliver new business results is the approach where everyone on the agency team has responsibility to bring in new business. And really without structure and accountability, this approach to new business development typically is going to fall short. And our blog and resource tab on the website provides some extensive information. I'm not doing shameless self-promoting, but I am only in that, what you'll find on there can, I think, be really helpful for you, the agency, and thinking about your business and your business development efforts in hopefully a different and better way. And as you continue to think about staffing for new business, one of our blog posts I'd refer you to is from December 29th. It poses a question about assigning responsibility for new business development in your firm, and the post includes a reference to related articles that may also help you think about the person or people internally who will provide the best natural fit for success in your new business program. So that was a December 29th, 2014 post. So let's go ahead and kind of wrap things up here. The opportunity to grow your business in the advertising and marketing industry is certainly extensive. The frustrations, that marketers expressed, should tell you they need help and they want help. The business has certainly changed, and it's going to continue to change, and that's why there's opportunity. And marketing folks need leaders from their agency partners, people who are visionary, who can see changes coming and help shape them as they approach. They also need leaders who have the capacity to be true strategic partners and who are also willing to grind into the day-to-day demands of execution. So make the most out of it by building a plan that supports your vision for where you want to take your firm, and try your best to stick to it. Show your clients and prospective clients the strategic leadership that they're seeking. Be brave enough to be able to be a strategic leader and not just an order taker. Marketers need leaders from their agency partners, leaders that can wear many hats. Make the most of it by building a plan that supports that vision. Broadcast who you are and what you do. Certainly not a passive exercise. You really need to be proactive in managing that, and make the most out of building a plan that supports for your vision. Show your clients and prospective clients strategic leadership they're thinking. If you see gaps in capabilities and expertise in your firm, decide how you want to position yourself. And if you haven't already taken a look at the New Year Outlook report, feel free to grab it off our site. It's posted on our website. You can download it for free. There are lots of good insights that marketers and agencies share with us. We've talked a lot about it today, but hopefully can help you figure out how to best take your firm forward, how to shape a leadership position in the industry and move yourself ahead. Also, I believe this industry is at a very fascinating point of evolution. I think there are exciting opportunities to lead the industry into the next phase, and it can be a very rich evolution with the benefit of collaborating, on strategic and creative forces. And, that leadership, I think, has to come from the agency side. That's where most of the stability exists. When you look at the changing nature of the CMO role and how frequently that's changing around, I think it's got to come from this side of the fence, from the agency side. And one place for discussing, what's to come in our industry and how to shape it. You started this up a few years ago, a LinkedIn forum called Building Better Client Agency Relationships. We've gotten a little bit more aggressive in promoting it. I'd say about half of the 250 members are marketing folks, and so it could be a good place to start some dialogue and get some folks talking about some of the issues. So this webinar is going to be posted on YouTube. It's being recorded right now. Feel free to refer your colleagues to it. Should be up there either later this evening or sometime tomorrow. You can reach out to me if you have any questions about any of this, or you want to talk through any of this any further by giving me a shout on the phone. You see my number there, or reaching out directly via email at mark@rswus.com. As I said, I always like talking about the issues. You don't have to be a client to do it. Always happy to bounce stuff around, but do see an opportunity here. The tensions are many. They're shared across the aisle. But I think it is, as long as you set yourself up well as an agency, position yourself well, and make sure that everybody's buying in within your agency, I think you have an opportunity to even if it's in baby steps, sort of lead your clients forward, because that's what they want, that's what they expect, that's why they come to us and ask us to help them find somebody new and different and better. So just don't let that happen to you. I think the path is pretty clear. I know the path is a difficult one to head down and satisfy in all dimensions. It's certainly easier said than done, but I think the path is there, and that path will continue to change as we move forward. It's going to be different data and technology, but the path is there, and hopefully this has been of some value. Hopefully you've pulled some insights out of this, and certainly wish you the best as you move forward throughout the balance of this year. So thanks so much, and everybody take care. All right, take care. Bye now.